All right, it's 10 o'clock and everybody's starting to scoot in. So for everybody that just got here, Alyssa and I have not been able to figure out the live chat plugin for the workshop. Sorry, guys. So we're going to use the Twitters. Thank the gods that there's a device for that. And we're just going to use the hashtag #IdealClientsWeb. IdealClientsWeb. So go ahead and tweet us over there if you have a question, or if like right now I'm talking and you can't hear me, just go ahead and tweet it to the hashtag, because then I'll know that this is not going to work, right, Alyssa? I believe that people can hear us.
No, they're going to do it.
I have faith.
Yeah.
Oh my God, look, tweets. Oh, look. April Roush is here. Thank you, April, for telling me that this is working. Hi, Jonathan. I'm so excited. All right, this is working. We can go ahead and start actually. Hey, hashtag all about Tacoma. Okay, cool. So, do you have your worksheet, everybody? Have you printed it out? If not, we're gonna walk you through it, but it will make your life much easier.
Also, there's a link to it in the email that we sent out this morning and the email that you received after you signed up too.
Oh, wait.
In case you're not sure where it is.
Just one last thing. Greg Fisher claims the chat is working on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
But we don't have YouTube open anymore. We're like grandparent
Hold on.
cats.
Let's get in here and see. Okay.
So one thing we learned, because we're brand new baby course people, is that fancy course people use GoToWebinar, which we would love to do one day.
Oh, look. Okay,
So there's everybody. Oh, turn. Oh, course people. Now we're gonna have a thing.
Okay.
So we had to. Okay. But we had to set this up with YouTube because we don't have $1,500 to have GoToWebinar. But now we're like, wow, $1,500 is a cheap price to pay
Ooh, be worth it.
to make life easier and not use YouTube. So anyway, this is a get what you pay for situation. And now we can see your chats.
Yeah.
We can see your chats on the
everyone's
YouTubes.
Hey.
And we will keep an eye on your Twitters as well. But we're going to go ahead and get started with the online course. So first of all, thank you for coming and thank you for supporting us as we do our first online course. We want to say a special thank you to Katie Lance,
Yes.
who told us that if you want to have people and talking about your course, maybe give them like some inside scoop by doing some webinars. So thanks, Katie Lance, for that good advice. And so that's the reason we're all here today. Also, just a reminder, the course, which we will not be hawking during the webinar, but we will definitely hawk again at the end. It is closing on January 9th because we're not full-time course selling mamas. Like this is just something that we're doing for the month of December as you guys are doing your business planning. So on with the course.
Yeah, let's get started.
So I think the first thing to talk about with this is why attracting your ideal clients is so important. I think a lot of us are told in real estate that we should just work with whoever calls us, anybody who, any client is a good client. There's a lot of training that's related to converting people who may be hesitant or on the fence or who don't trust us, or getting them to commit when maybe they don't want to commit. And what I've discovered, and I know you have ideal clients as well, yes. Alyssa, what I've discovered is you don't have to do any of that stuff when you have clients who already like and trust you. And the whole idea of the community marketing course is to work by attraction. And what do you put out into the world in order to attract clients who choose you? And so you don't have to go around finding clients all the time. You're putting out the good stuff. You're sending out, community information and showing people what you're all about. And the best people pick you.
Yeah, one of the things that I know people can be really scared about when they're putting out content, whether it's like a blog post or a podcast or video or whatever, is like, they're like, but what if like they're imagining all the people that they're going to turn away with this somehow. Yeah. And they're like, well, I don't want to, turn people away from my business. But in doing that, you're also attracting the people who are your people
yes.
to you. So that's something to keep in mind.
Well, and here's the thing I will say, so many people kind of try to go down this process of working by attraction, right? They build an awesome website, they make a business plan, they have a blog, they create tons of content, right? We go to conferences and they're telling us all the content to write, and we write all this content, and we're bewildered when either the clients that we get from our blog kind of suck, like we don't like them, or we just don't really get anybody. And people are like, I tried blogging and it didn't really work, or I tried blogging and, I didn't really get the people I wanted. And when you ask somebody, oh, by the way, Matilda has joined the webinar. When you ask somebody, like, what is your ideal client? Like, who are you trying to attract with this? They can't articulate an answer.
You're right. They're just kind of throwing stuff out there randomly. And sometimes that's okay when you're getting started and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. But eventually you'll want to narrow in on something.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't, and that is what this whole thing is about. We're going to go through a process that's going to help you narrow down who it is that you want to attract. Because if you're one of those agents making a deer in the headlights expression when people say, who do you specialize in? You should always be able to articulate that.
Yes.
And I think I went to a conference early in my career where I was surrounded in a room full of people who could all articulate their niche. And what they told me that I didn't believe at the time, and now I'm like passionately preaching to the agents that I interact with, is when you articulate a niche, it does not scare anybody else away. It's the weirdest thing. Like, people will still call you. You can say, I specialize in NFL football players and, you know, like in a particular zip code. And like literally no one will say like, well, my aunt wants to sell her house. Like, you know, Alyssa doesn't work with anybody but football players. Like, they won't do that. They're still going to call you. But the important reason to identify the ideal client is, first of all, what you focus on, you're going to attract. And you need to have an elevator pitch about who your ideal clients are. So when people ask you about real estate, you can say, I specialize in this particular type of client. And then the other thing about that is you should, and this is one that if you are making notes here, please write it down. Never spend money to attract clients that are not your ideal clients. So this is a great filtering mechanism for people who are calling you, trying to get you to advertise. What happens to me a lot is like, you know, I specialize in people without kids. Like, I mean, it's not that I won't work with people with kids. Like, I'm not discriminating. Like, I don't mind people with kids, but all things being equal, like, I want to attract like urban people, first-time buyers, like people that are moving up that don't have kids, right? Like, that would be my ideal zone. And so I'm not going to spend any money advertising in like the elementary school flyer or at the kids' baseball games on the little thing. Like, that's not going to attract my ideal client. My ideal client is going to be more of the happy hour crowd. So really thinking that through. Am I going to be, if I spend this money, is it going to be attracting my ideal client? Is it going to be kind of going after everybody? You want to only be in front of your people. So now we're going to go into our exercise. Does everybody have their workbook? Does everybody have their workbook? Okay.
And we'll read the questions to you too. So if you don't have it for some reason, you won't be completely lost.
So right now, what we want to talk about is who you worked with in the last 12 months. Because think about this. This is going to be the foundation of next year's business plan. Like, once you know who you're trying to attract, who are you going to be creating content for? Where are you going to be holding open houses? Like, everything that you do, you're going to be doing it for your ideal clients. So think about last year and get really real. And it's not just about price point, although if price point is your major filter on who a good client is, like, that's just fine. Like, use that as your filter. But most of us, I think, you know, we have a different mechanism. So let's start by making a list. Everybody reflect. Let's just give it like 45 seconds to a minute and just brainstorm, like, who are the people you worked with last year that you loved? I feel like I should be playing some loving music. Hopefully everybody's found exercise 1 right on the bottom of the first page. Who are the
so in
people
case
you
in case you missed it, number 1, write down the names of your favorite clients from the past year or whatever.
And I guess this is the difference between like a regular webinar and an online workshop, is we're giving you some space. We're reflecting. Don't quit. Stay with us. All right. So now we're going to go on to question number 2, which is, what kinds of properties these clients bought or sold? So was it raw land? Was it, you know, condos? Was it luxury? Was it in a particular geographic part of the town? Do you notice that your favorite clients tend to buy rural, tend to buy urban? Are they buying in a particular neighborhood? Are they buying fixer-uppers? Are these people remodelers, or are these people sellers? You know, are they selling new construction, so your inspections are going a little bit better? Are they historic homes? Anything that you can narrow in on here. Condition, loan type, whatever you want. All right, so now number 3, this one can be very illuminating, especially once you move into marketing. Where do your clients work? Like, who are these people? Like, your ideal clients. Where do they work? What are their hobbies? What do they do for fun? What organizations do they belong to? So this is kind of like a little opportunity for some free writing. The example that we give in the packet is Jim and Barbara Johnson are empty nesters with 2 kids in college. They relocated to the area with military, and Jim retired from the Army. They live in 2 Ponds estates. Jim is a car guy, and Barbara hosts the local bridge club. They're both active in Rotary and the Boys and Girls Club. God, Jim and Barbara sound amazing. I want to work with Jim and Barbara, right? So thinking about with your ideal clients, when you free write on what is their life like, what is their behavior like, what are they consuming? You know, are they going to see it? If you do tons of Facebook ads, are they going to see it? Or if you're advertising in the local church bulletin, is that going to hit Jim and Barbara, right?
Something I was thinking about with the Facebook ads is, I know that sometimes, like, if I'm working with a real estate agent who they're not really sure who their ideal client is, it's just like, you know, say they work in Seattle. They just say, like, show this ad to people who live in Seattle. And it's just like, I mean, that's so many people. There's so many different demographics and people who are looking for specific things and different types of people. And so it's like narrowing in on that really helps you, like, create Facebook ads and other ads too. But
yeah, I mean, there's so many benefits to really being able to articulate who your people are. So now that we've talked a little bit about the lifestyle, and I mean, I'm hoping that you guys are going to go back to this. We're pushing you through this kind of quickly. And this should really be like, have a beer or a glass of wine and go real deep with your soul about who you loved last year and what they're into. We're pushing you through it a little bit quickly, but hopefully you're still getting some notes down. What neighborhood did they buy or sell in? We might have already come into this a little bit in question 2, but really focusing in, when you look at your list of your 5, 6 favorite clients from last year, are they completely spread out, like all over your geographic territory? Or are they all in the same neighborhood? Are they all in, you know, a similar community? Do they all have something in common? Really clear on this. This is very traditional real estate, but this is going to be very, very helpful. Whether you're doing Facebook ads, blog posts, podcasting, videos, you need to know where your best people are, and so you can support and talk to them.
And on Facebook, you can target by zip code and sometimes neighborhood, depending if it's like a prominent one in your city too. So
exactly. Yeah. All right. So now we are going on to question 5. If you know, we can see your YouTube chats. So if we're going too fast, let me know. If you want me to chill for a minute, we're excited. So we're going fast. So half of Alyssa's face is missing. Let's fix that. Oh my God, girl.
Stay closer.
Yeah. Stay close. Okay. I don't see any chats in the YouTube, so I'm going to assume that we should just keep going forward. I love that you love bridge, Greg Fisher. That's great news. Okay. So the next question is, I think, one of the more illuminating questions that I discovered when I first did this exercise, which is, how did your clients find you? And the examples we give are Zillow leads, walk-ins, referrals from past clients, referrals from friends, and former cellmates. Was that your joke? I don't remember thinking that up.
I wouldn't make a joke like that.
I don't remember writing that joke. I think that was your joke. But wherever your clients come from, your ideal clients. And I think this is something that's very helpful, because what I discovered when I did this exercise was really shocking. I mean,
cellmates.
Girl, I've never been caught and sent to prison. But what I did discover was that referrals from friends, and in particular referrals from family, were my least favorite clients. None of the people that I love the most were coming from family, and few of them were coming from friends. Like, it turns out the people I loved best were strangers coming from the web. Like, and that's so counter what we're taught. Like, what we're taught is, like, the best referrals are people that are coming from your friends and your family members.
And don't talk to strangers you meet on the internet.
Yeah, we needed to completely disregard that advice. But yeah, so like when we're constantly bombarded with this message, you know, which might be true for other people, by the way, like this just ended up being true for me, but that the best referrals are the people that are coming from your friends and family, you can miss an opportunity, which is a person who chooses you online is also, their own ego is in that. Like, they have made that selection for themselves. It's not that their brother-in-law told them they should use you, and now they resent both their brother-in-law and you because you're not the right fit for them, and they just kind of did it to capitulate. You know, you don't know what the process was like for that referral coming in. Or it might be that, you know, your good friend referred you their good friend, and actually you love them because, you know, it's true that good people tend to send you good people. But for me, in my experience, family referrals tended not to be a super good fit for me. And friend referrals were solid, but not like the people that came from online ended up being new friends because there was so much content going out and they were attracted to
They'd probably been stalking you for a while.
That's my dream.
Yeah, they're getting to know you online.
But this part can be very limiting because what you can discover sometimes is that something like Zillow leads, like if you make this list of your 5 best clients and it turns out they were all Zillow leads, obviously you need to like figure out what that's about and either double down on Zillow leads or figure out how to replicate who those people are and how they're coming in outside of that stream. Or if you figure out that they were all like floor people, like maybe you're just like really great at connecting and your office has good floor. But I think most often, like you are gonna start to notice that they have some pattern. We're moving on to question 6, which is what seems to be the thing that these people have in common. So, you know, we have listed out neighborhood, we've listed their referral source, we've listed their personality type, you know, we have all these sort of qualitative data points. Is that right? I always mix up qualitative and quantitative.
I do too.
Anyway, it's the woo-woo data points, right? We're just like, it's this general information about these people. Like, are we starting to get a picture of who these people are? And then before we move into the least favorite client exercise, which is also a super fun part of this, just sort of take a moment to pause and imagine, look at your list of 6, 5 people, however many you got down, and imagine that if your goal next year is working with 25 people, if your goal next year is working with 30, 40, 50 people, that all of those people are like those 5 or 6 people. And if you didn't have very many good clients last year, if you only have 1 or 2, this exercise is going to be even more powerful, because what you're imagining is all those other clients that you worked with this year, especially those clients that didn't end up closing, that you worked so hard for, we're going to boot those people. And we're going to focus entirely on these people that you really loved working with. So are we in like that fantasy world right now? Like imagining like skipping through fields, working with great clients.
Being happy with your life.
Being happy with your life.
Liking your business.
Liking your business. It can come true for you. But first we have to go through the hellfire of talking about our least favorite clients. And this is actually, come on, this is kind of fun. It's kind of fun to reminisce about the crazy people, right? So, I mean, you know, like the people that are a little bit wild. So we're gonna take a list now of our 5 least favorite clients in the last 12 months. Have some fun with this. Use nicknames if you need to. Who were these people that tortured you? Who were these people that did not close? Who were these people that, you know, it was Christmas morning and, you know, they wanted you to come show them a house? Or, you know, the seller that was like involving you in all of their dramas, you know, at 10 o'clock at night when it really could have waited until the next morning and they were just a little bit neurotic. And for whatever reason, that wasn't a fit for you. Go ahead and write those people down. Let's get real clear. Who were your least favorite clients in the last 12 months? And now we're going to start going through and looking at the commonalities, just like we did with the first ones. What neighborhoods did your least favorite clients buy or sell in? Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't want to feel like things are predictable, but I notice that sometimes the people that we love the most are buying not so far from where we work. And when you have to drive 2 hours for a listing, or even an hour for a listing, or sit in traffic for 45 minutes to put on a lockbox, or go put a new key in, or fix a sign that is now askew, or whatever, like geography is often the first indicator. Like sometimes these people are perfectly innocent. They're good people, they're nice people, but they're only a pain in the ass because they're so far away. And whose call was it to take a listing that was so far away? Mm-hmm. Or to work with a buyer that wanted to look at this side of the county and that side of the county, right? So noticing that maybe when we look at what neighborhoods did they buy or sell in, people who had a clear idea of what neighborhood they wanted, or a general zone, you know, people who don't might end up on the bad list. Now, again, question number 9, how did they find out about you? Your least favorite clients. How did they find out about you? And this can be so eliminating. Like for me, it was just like, you know, obviously referrals from family did not usually work out for whatever reason. Also, I found I was a new construction site agent for 2 years. That was not it for me. That was not the way that I met my ideal clients, and like discovering that, wow, I mean, they were nice and everything, but for whatever reason, the people that I was meeting at new construction sites, we never, you know, it didn't go so great. Like, that's a really good thing to know. I'm putting a lot of time and effort, that's a lot of scheduled time, into attracting clients that I don't end up loving with all my heart and soul. That seems like a waste of time.
Yes.
Have you ever done the bad clients exercise, Alyssa?
Yes.
And
yes.
Is there an insight you'd like to offer us about, I mean, because, you know, her clients are realtors, so maybe she's scared to tell us.
I think the one thing that's kind of a red flag for me is if someone asks, you know, what's going to be the ROI on a blog post. It's like, that means that they don't really get content marketing or, you know, community marketing.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to be able to prove it to them. They're going to have to like look at other examples, which, you know, I share with them, but I don't want to have to sell the whole thing to them. Like, I want someone who comes to me who already knows what it is and they're sold on it and they know it works. Because I kind of tell people, I'm just like, I can't give you that information.
This is good information. All right, so hopefully you guys have like zeroed in on where your least favorite clients are coming from. Maybe you were like busily writing this. Maybe like you know exactly where we're going with this. Maybe you're having a little bit of harder time finding the threads. You might need to come back and reflect on this some more, but hopefully you're starting to see some commonalities. So what are the things that your least favorite clients have in common? By the way, if you want to tweet this out, I can, you know, if you're a regular tweeter and you don't want your clients to see you talking about this, that's totally your business. You can put it in the YouTube chat too. But I'm a little bit curious if any of you are noticing any commonalities between your good and bad clients.
And also now is a great time to ask some questions in the chat if there's anything you want us to like kind of pause on and go back to.
Oh, hey, Tim, that's a good question. You're brand new and you don't know who your favorite or least favorite clients are. Man, I wish I had like a supercharged solution to this problem. So I will tell you a story. When I first started in real estate, I wrote a business plan. The first most hilarious point being that I said I was going to be a CPA-esque advisor. I was 25. I didn't know anything about real estate. Anyway, it was embarrassing to look back upon. But the thing that I also wrote down was that I wanted to specialize in investors in raw land and difficult people that other people had a hard time working with. Yeah, because I was really good at working with, like, you know, my parents are difficult people. Like, I just learned how to work with difficult people from the crib. And so I thought, like, this is going to be my gift in real estate. I'm going to attract clients by working with really difficult investors and developers and like those kinds of people. And oh my gosh, like I was new and I got business that way. And so I assumed like, this is going to be my niche. And I think this is a mistake that a lot of newer people kind of make, is that they especially people that are like me that really want to get into like marketing and branding. I want to brand myself. I want to attract my, you know, my best clients right from the start. The problem is you don't always know right from the start who you love to work with. You actually kind of have to get in there. So this is where I'm going to have the back of pretty much every real estate manager and company owner in the country and just say, man, you got to get out there and like hustle a weird variety of deals. Because you never know, like you might stumble on your niche, and you do in the beginning kind of have to say yes to everything. And another way to do this that's a little more responsible, because obviously if you're saying yes to everything, you don't really know what you're doing yet, is to link up with another agent who already has a steady stream of business and say, look, hey, I'd love to kind of like tag along on some of your deals. I'd love to go along on some buyer outings. I promise not to talk. I'll just like observe. You know, I just want the opportunity to be exposed to the way that you're interacting with clients. And you can start to observe like which clients are bugging you. Like which clients are you just like, oh my gosh, I never want to hear this woman speak again. Or clients that you're like, oh my God, I'm so jealous. I wish these were my clients. I think we've all had the experience of maybe like hosting an open house and seeing another realtor come through the open house with some clients, like locking eyes with the clients longingly, like knowing those are my freaking clients. They know you're their realtor. They know they've made the wrong choice, but it's too late. They've committed. Those kinds of experience can also help you when you're new and you don't have your own clients yet. Those kinds of things can help you tune in, like, ooh, I wish I was working with them, you know, or if you notice that certain people, like when they already have a realtor, wish they were working with you. Sounds like, I don't know. It sounds like romantic, but it's not. Yeah. It's just,
well, it reminds me of actually like some job search advice that I've heard. And also that I give people so much of finding what you want to do for your job or career or whatever is finding out what you don't want to do. So it's just like, you know, we've all like known the aimless person who's like just out of high school or college or whatever. And they're like, well, I don't know what I want to do. It's just like, well, you just got to start trying some stuff.
Well, and Christian just said on the chat that the vision you start with for your business will change as you get more experience, and you have to be okay with that. And that's absolutely true. So if you're new, don't be hard on yourself. I know this exercise is a little bit tricky if you haven't actually worked with any clients yet, but just hang in there and be ready to experiment.
I think like for Tim and other people like you who are just getting started, I think that it would be really interesting for you to fill this out and kind of do what Marguerite did when she first started out, is like, what does she think it is? And then, you know, put this away. And
in a time capsule.
Yeah. And come back to it in like a year and like see, you know, if you were right or like, whoa, like, yeah.
I would have been so far off. I would have been so far off. So, okay, this is the hardest part of the worksheets. The hardest part of our whole workshop is, now that you have written down and you've figured out what these people have in common, you know where they're coming from, you know what source of online leads they're coming from, you know what they're like, you know that you don't like working with them. You profiled them. Now commit. You are not working with those people. You're not working with those people anymore. Is it scary? Scale of 1 to 10. How scared are you people right now? It's a scary thing to commit to not working with people, because most of us, when we're looking at 2018, maybe we're looking back at 2017 feeling like, oh, our numbers from last year weren't quite where we want them. The solution to getting your numbers from last year to where you want them in 2018 is to hyper focus on the people that you love and that you most want to work with, to create content to serve and excite those people, to get in front of those people, you know, with coffee dates or with parties or however it is that you interact with your clients. Like, only serve the people and attract the people you most want. This is going to change your year, because maybe you're one of those people. I am one of these people. Like, the year before last, I had this like really great year, and I was like, okay, I don't need to make more money than I made last year. This was a great year. But I just want to really love everybody that I work with the following year, and I want to work less hard. And when you're working with people who already like and trust you, who you like and trust, where you're not pulling freaking teeth on every piece of news in the transaction, all of a sudden your work life gets a lot easier. So you can do 25 deals and now it feels like 18. It might even feel like 10, like depending on how bad your clients are. So I know that sounds really extreme, but just really commit to saying no to these, I'm just gonna say it, like toxic people for you that you don't serve well anyway. Also, I think we promised in the promo to this to talk a little bit about what to do with those people. I can kind of hear you guys saying like, great, so my aunt.
Just say no.
Just say no. Just say no. Ladies and gentlemen. No, so let's say, you know, like I can hear you guys saying like, okay, so yeah, this is easy for you to say, but when my grandmother calls with her, you know, latest, you know, bridge club friend who I know is going to be a huge pain in the butt and lives 45 minutes away, and I don't want to hurt her feelings, like, what do you want me to say? Green smoothie time. I'll tell you what you need to say. You need to say, oh my gosh, Grandma, I'm so excited. Should we role play this? Do you want to be my grandmother?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay. Hey, Grandma.
Hi.
Okay. You're going to have to speak up. So what's up?
Well, you know, Cindy and my bridge club, she needs a real estate agent, and of course I thought of you, honey.
Oh, Grandma, I love when you think of me for real estate. Thank you.
Yeah, I told her you're the best, and she really, really wants to work with you.
I love that. Where is Cindy going to be looking to buy?
About in Eatonville.
In Eatonville?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Eatonville is so beautiful.
I thought you could help her.
You know what, Grandma? I'm going to go ahead and give Cindy a call. What's her number?
Blah, 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 blah.
I'm going to go ahead and give Cindy a call, but I just want to let you know, I think I'm actually going to hook Cindy up with my colleague Jane out in Eatonville.
Oh.
Now, don't worry. You know I love me some Cindy, and I'm not going to leave her life. I'm going to be available to her. But I have discovered that I am not as good as Jane at Eatonville, and I don't want Cindy to miss out on anything that's happening. The problem is like the Eatonville market's super hot right now, and the houses are moving really quickly. And if I have to drive 45 minutes, and if I'm not hooked up, like Cindy might need to get an off-market house, and I'm not plugged into Eatonville the way that Jane is. So what I'm thinking is maybe like me and Cindy and Jane can sit down, and we can make sure that her and Jane click. And then Jane's gonna go ahead and take over. But you know that I'm here for you and Cindy if they have any questions.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Okay. I guess I might be okay.
I mean, Alyssa didn't give me much of a fight. Like, I think my own grandma would have been so much more hardcore in that situation.
Oh.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much your grandma fights you. the thing that you have to focus on when you're referring, first of all, this is a revenue stream. This is a life-changing thing for me. Referrals have been amazing. The more I narrow my niche and the more I refer the people outside my niche, the happier I get. Plus, the more I get to really narrow my personal niche, because there's all of this revenue coming in from all the people that are not a good fit, that are getting hooked up with their ideal realtor. So I think the thing to focus on here is your principles. You will only work with people that you can serve well. Like, that feels really good. That doesn't feel like you're handing somebody off. That feels like you're telling the truth and you're being really authentic and true to yourself and true to the client. Your needs are not something that I can meet, but I know the person who can meet your needs. And then the truth is you really need to know your network of agents really well so that you can make sure to be connecting them. You need to be asking your agent friends who their ideal clients are. And then when they can't articulate it, poke around and figure it out for yourself, because it's very valuable. If you can find the agents that love working with those people from question number 10 that you don't like, this is gold. Like, this means that for every 4 clients you give away, that's a commission. Like, so every 4 times that you identify a client that is not your ideal client that you give to someone else and they close, that's the equivalent of having worked with like one good person. Like, right. And that's just your system now. So you're like, now you can make a game of it. You're like, okay, so I'm going to give away all the people that I don't want to work with. And my goal is to give away 8 of those people next year. And that's going to be like 2 extra commissions, plus all the bandwidth you're freeing up to work with and attract awesome clients. Is this making sense? Like, is that making sense?
Yeah. And
is that too weird?
And I think that, like, you know, like you're saying, get to know the agents in your area who have their different specialties, so that when you do need to like pass off your grandma's friend, you actually are passing her off to somebody good. And
they can hear the conviction in your voice. You know, I know from experience when my friends have asked me for referrals and I'm kind of like, I kind of know someone who does that. And like, I try to hand them off, but like the confidence isn't there.
Good about it.
Yeah. Like the conversion rate is not as good. And for me, like, just to share in case anybody is curious, like for me on referrals, the close rate when I refer out is about 50% within 12 months. So based on the number of people that I'm getting from Move to Tacoma, I'm getting, you know, last year it was 167 online inquiries that led to, I think, 73 closed transactions. And most of those were closed by referral partners. And this year, I haven't actually run my numbers for this year, but I know it's more. I think it's closer to 200. So 200 people come in, you know, about 80 or 90 of them have closed. So like, that's kind of the mental formula for you when you're thinking about it. So don't be too hard on those agents, because some of these people, remember, you're referring them away for a reason, because they're a pain in the ass. So they might not always actually close, and just like be forgiving of that.
Yeah. So it's like a win-win. Like, don't just think of it as you're turning away business. Like, it's just an alternative.
All right, so we're at 10:30. We're going to go into the next section of the webinar, which is talking a little bit about branding and attracting those ideal clients some more. But before we do, I just want to take a temperature. We're not like, this is our first webinar virgins, online workshop virgins. Be gentle with us. Does anybody have any questions in either the Twitter or the YouTube stream? I'm just going to take a quick glance and just see like what are we seeing here? Any questions anywhere we're not clearly stating what you guys need to be doing? Are you feeling it? I don't know if YouTube has a delay or if you guys are just like super satisfied. What I think is super exciting is that we've only lost one person.
Whoa.
And I'm assuming that that is like a tech glitch and not like, oh my God, Marguerite said 3 swear words, I'm out of here. Okay, so thank you, Michelle Posia, all clear. Tim's cool, Greg's cool, Stacy, Kristen Stavros, you're good. Michael Dugan, thank you for feeling it, Michael. Michael Dugan is a person who is really implementing a lot of these principles, and it's very exciting to see him blossoming. He was a former ideal client who's now a realtor, which is so beautiful to see.
And he has a lovely website.
He has a gorgeous website. Is it duganhomes.com?
I'm pretty sure.
DUGGAN homes.com. He got like this really cool local designer to do it. It's really nice. Christopher Morgan, Christian Harris. Okay, all right, I'm satisfied. Hey, Lenny, I'm satisfied that you guys are satisfied, so we're gonna move on to the next thing. So this is an exercise that we threw in that I wasn't too sure if it would catch on, but then Leslie Heindel did this from bneworleans.com. If you're not already tracking her sweet community marketing stuff, she has a website called bneworleans.com. She has what I believe to be the greatest real estate video that's ever been made. I actually cried.
It might make you cry.
it made me cry the first time I saw it. It also made me super jealous, and I want to make one like that about Tacoma. But she has a bunch of great content. But she did this next part, questions 11 and 12, and she said it was very impactful, which made me feel real good. So we love feedback. Thanks for letting us know. So what we're going to talk about here is, what is your business known for? And I know, Tim's out there, he's new. He probably doesn't know what he's known for as a realtor yet. He's probably known for enthusiasm, because when you're new, that's mostly what you've got, because you don't have all that deep experience and wisdom yet. Although I will say, people who come from complementary industries like building and construction, or people who have had a role like fundraising for a local nonprofit, or who have some other community-oriented role before they come into real estate, can parlay some of that personal brand into real estate. So you can think about this broadly if you're new. But if you've been in the business for a few years, you should be able to describe what you do and how you're different from other realtors.
Also, I know Leslie, one of the things that was so fun about this exercise for her is that, like we say here, we say, if you're not sure what your business is known for, ask some trusted friends or past clients. And so she texted some people, and they started sharing with her, oh, well, I think that you're known for this. And it was really a pleasant experience.
Yeah, and that was,
they said nice things about her.
Yeah, so we created this exercise, and we kind of thought like, well, you'll just do this on your own. But this is a great way to kind of get some candid market research. Just text your clients and say, and you can text friendlies, and then you can also text people who you're worried maybe didn't have good experiences with you, and ask them this anyway, which is a very brave thing to do. What's that?
So Sissy says, I'm finding a lot of my least favorite clients are very similar to my favorite.
Oh, Sissy, could you say a little bit more about that in the comments? I'd like to know more. I haven't run into this before. So can you tell me a little bit more, like you haven't found the characteristic that separates them? Even if it's just a feeling state when you're with them, like, can you give us some indicator of how you know the good from the bad? So going ahead and doing the Leslie Heindel move of texting your clients and asking them what they think you're known for can be a big self-esteem hit. I would also say if you're a person who is established enough to have online reviews, going through and reading those kind of critically, like print them out and have a pen. I know that I didn't do this for a long time. Like I would get reviews and I'd kind of scan them and be like, oh, they think I'm amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I didn't think about it very critically. And I think, you're more of a, like, we know this from our technical difficulties as we launched the webinar. Like Alyssa is a person who reads every single line of everything. I was like,
be quiet. I need to read.
Yeah, she's like, I'm reading the checklist of the how to set up the Google Hangout, right? It's like, so she's doing things that way. I'm not that way. I'm very much taking impressions. I'm doing 12 things at once. So I'm scanning things. So even when people are trying to tell us what they think about us and what they love about us, maybe we're not tuning in if you're like me. So printing out your reviews and then going through and underlining what are some of the common things that your clients are saying are valuable about you. Because for me, the way that I tend to think about the value that I bring as a service provider and what other people say is always a little bit surprising. First of all, we tend not to talk ourselves up, especially you ladies out there. And also we're not always clear about it. I think we've had this experience when we've talked about why you're so amazing and why I value you.
No.
Yeah. This woman can get shit done. When she says she's going to do stuff, she does it. I don't know how you, and she's so blasé about it. She's like, of course I do. She would never put in her marketing, I do everything I say I'm going to do and I get it done. And I don't miss details. Because obviously she doesn't think that's not something I would market because that's just something I do. She might say something really ambiguous, like a lot of us realtors do, I provide professionalism and good service. But we all define professionalism and good service differently. So it's not very effective. So getting really clear, what are the words your ideal clients that love you are using to describe you? And then, compile those. Because when you're talking about yourself in your bio, when you're creating marketing materials and calls to action, try to incorporate that language because they're teaching you, this is how we see you. This is what you mean to us. And then the final question here before we go into the values exercise is, what do you want your business to be known for?
So sort of more aspirational.
Yeah. And I mean, this is dreams, right? I think some of us feel when you're grinding away in real estate, you don't actually get the chance. You don't feel like you deserve to kind of think on that level. maybe like, I think some of us like feel like, well, I just want to make enough money to like feed the kids or the cat and, like live day to day. And I don't want to run out of money, and I want to be able to make my car payment. And I don't know what I want my business to be known for. I want to be known as a person that can like close the deal. You're thinking very short term. And I think when we're talking about attracting our ideal clients and having a gushing pipeline of people who love us, really being able to articulate the vision and work backwards is very key. So for me, like, I just want to be like the kind of person that people pick up the phone and call for everything. So it's not just real estate stuff. Like, it's the whole transaction. It's when they need a cat sitter. It's when they need a roofer. It's, like, I just want to be like a very reliable, accessible person. It wouldn't be beneficial for me. Like, I don't think my ideal clients are the kind of people who are going to buy the house and then call me 7 years later after not talking to me. Like, I'm the kind of person that, like, I'm probably going to be in their lives in some way. And maybe we're all not BFFs. Maybe, but I am, I'm going out tonight with some clients that I met who found me on Yelp. So like, and that was 2.5 years ago, and we hang out all the time. So I think like, you don't become best friends with everybody that you sell houses to, but ideally, if that's your vision, like, I want to be known as a person who's very accessible and a part of the community, and like, who's a real person who's not just trying to close me. So I'm not scared to call her for a friend or for a referral, because I know she's not just going to try to like, whatever. That's important for me. Now, it is perfectly okay for those of you out there who are like, I don't want to be friends with my clients. That's not interesting to me. Sure. Like, I want to be known as a professional. Maybe like little Marguerite in 2005, just starting in real estate, you want to be known as like a CPA professional. You want them to see you like they see their lawyer. That's okay. Like, articulate that. Write it out. Like, what does that look like? What behaviors do you engage with your clients? What behaviors do you not engage with your client? What does your ideal business life look like? And then be ready to stick to that, and ask yourself, when you're doing your marketing, when you're writing your content, am I supporting this vision for my business, or am I just, doing what somebody else is doing? And I think part of this comes from like our heroes, like, I've had the experience before of copying the things that my heroes do, and then not realize that like, oh wow, if I actually achieved their version of business success, I would be very unhappy. So I think that's the big reason for articulating 12. What do you want your business to be known for? Is because you don't want to do a bunch of work and get there and then realize like, oh God, this is like these people. No, and this is a terrible life. Like, you might even have good clients, but now it's all just kind of set up in a way that's not very fun. And there's no point in doing all of this work to be intentional if we haven't been intentional about the result. All right, so I'm just gonna check the comments here. Sissy filled in some more. Coming from similar places, so her clients are coming from similar places and looking in similar areas, but she has a hard time determining what exactly is that specific quality that makes one fabulous and one a nightmare. Just interesting. I think you could start, if you've made a list, hopefully you've made your list of the people who ended up being a nightmare and the people who ended up being great. And you can reflect back on like maybe those initial buyer meetings, or perhaps a lack of, and I'm thinking I always say buyers because I tend to work with buyers, but like buyer or listing meetings, right? What were those initial conversations like? Were there any indicators in those early conversations that maybe you disregarded because you were excited about the property, or you were, they were a referral, or that you personally thought they were really cool. And so you disregarded some warning signs that maybe things weren't going to work out well for you. I think this is a common thing with realtors, is that once you've been in the business a little bit of time, you do develop kind of a spidey sense, but there's something in you that is overriding it because you're saying, man, I really want that listing in that neighborhood, or man, that person's really cool and I want to work with them. But you're disregarding the fact that their husband seems to be sabotaging the transaction, or something else where things might not be going well. They might be giving you signs that they're not ideal, but you're disregarding them because of some other factor. And Sissy, if I'm not hitting the mark on this, let me know, and we can always do a little email about this later. But I think that's very interesting that you're having trouble distinguishing, and I'm wondering if it's like almost about like giving yourself permission to tune in. What do you think, Alyssa?
It's really hard because I find this, with my own business. So people will send me kind of like an inquiry email maybe, and sometimes they seem it's hard to discern whether they're like skeptical or confused. You know, are they just asking questions because like they're still kind of confused about the whole community focused marketing thing, or are they like, you know, is she going to be able to pull this off kind of thing? You know, so like it is really hard. And I've looked back at a lot of my clients and been like, okay, like, you know, trying to figure out, well, where did they come from? Oh, they all came from the same place. So like, then what do you need to look at? And like, at what point should I have said, actually, like, you might be looking for this other thing? And now I know, like, there are a few questions and things that I can say in the beginning that help, like, you know, tell them, like, oh, that maybe this actually isn't for me or whatever. So I don't know, like, from your perspective, like, if there are certain questions or things that you can ask in your first meeting with them that, you know, maybe can be, I'm not really sure from the real estate side of this how it goes, but like if it can be more of like a consultation.
I can give you an example. So I went through a phase where, ironically, I'm telling you how much I love strangers. When I first went to my brokerage, Windermere Professional Partners, in 2010, in the darkest dark days of the market, when realtors were throwing themselves out of buildings, it was a tragedy for those of you who are not yet in the business. It was dark times. Everybody was losing their BMWs. It was dark. So I was at the office and I was telling my broker, like, it was hard. Like, I was having a really hard time meeting with clients. Buyers were on the fence for like a year at a time. Like, it was dark. I said it was dark. And I was telling him I only wanted to work with friends. I was just over strangers. And he was like, well, I think you should treat strangers like your friends. And when you have your initial buyer conversation, just tell them how you work. And tell clients how you work sounds like that scripty, crappy, I don't know, maybe some people love it. But for me, like when I hear that, I think about training that I didn't like, where they were trying to make me be differently than I am with my clients. And what he was saying was basically like, as soon as a stranger comes in, talk to them like you're their friend and tell them exactly what you need from them. And then tell them what you're going to do if you're not a good fit. And I was like, oh, I could do that. And so I just started doing that. And so like I would sit down with clients and I'd be like, hey, look, here's the deal. I'm not super analytical. I'm more of like a feeling type of person. And I'm more of like a coaching role. And like, that's kind of how I interact with my clients. If you need someone who's more like an analytical person, who's like a shark, you know, who might kind of try to close you, but he's your shark. Like, I know that guy and I'm happy to refer you to him, but like, that's not me. And what was so cool, what I discovered once we started having that conversation right at the beginning, was that most of the people who were strangers who were finding me, that was what they were hoping I was going to tell them. Like, if they were looking for a shark, they would have never called me to begin with. They already had enough indicators to know. So they just wanted me to tell them what they were hoping was true. So that conversation was specific to me. I don't know if you need to have that conversation. You might be having a different conversation. So see, I'm thinking about you. There might be something that you need to talk about with your clients right up front, and just any boundaries that you need to put in place. I know some of the agents I know like turn off their phones at a certain hour. Leslie Heindel was saying she turns off her phone during Saints games. Like, her clients know in their initial buyer conversation that like when the New Orleans Saints are playing, like she is not available. And they're on board with that from day one. Like, they know. And I'm sure that if like there's some major stuff going down, like she's going to check her phone. We are all human beings. But like those kinds of boundaries, I think clients like them. They like to be held by them. And so articulating them early on can also help either surface if a client is a borderline bad client or a borderline good client, just so you know where they are, or like repel them altogether, or attract them completely and make your transaction even better. See a question coming in from Stacy Gendro. How important is the office brokerage you choose to work out of is in all of this? How do you pick a good one? Well, you know, I mean, you could try. I think it's super important. I didn't used to. Like, I used to think like I'm the secret sauce and the people around me are not super important. And then we had a market crash. And like, it turns out like if the people around you are sucking the life out of you, if your leadership can't see what's special about you and support you, that is really demoralizing and it affects your productivity. So hopefully, if you ask the managing broker of a firm you're looking into, who are your ideal clients, because obviously we're the agents, we're their clients, they should be able to articulate that. Because if they're taking everybody that fogs a mirror and they don't have a vision for, like, back to question number 12, if they don't know what their brokerage is known for, how can you know if you fit in there? You know, I think that's really important. And obviously, I mean, you have to think about it. I don't want every agent in my office to be exactly like me.
Right. No.
There's only room for one me. And that's my personality type.
Well,
now,
also you have your pool of who to refer people to.
Yeah, exactly. Like you want variety. You don't want people that are all just exactly like you, but you want people that make you feel good. I mean, you know, my guru Martha Beck says, like, you never want the thing you think you want. You want the feeling state that you think the thing you want is going to give you. And girl, I know, this has changed my life. By the way, if you're single, like, you should apply this to your criteria list. But for your brokerage, if you're shopping brokerages this December, you should be able to articulate, what is it going to feel like to walk into that office every day? What's it going to feel like when I'm in a sales meeting? Do I feel good? Do I feel energized? Do I feel depressed? Like, you should be able to articulate what you want to feel like in that office. And then maybe even articulate that to the broker who's trying to recruit you. Are these realistic expectations? You know, is this an energizing office? Like, you know, are these things going to come true for me if I'm here? And it's almost like you get the experience of being the client when you're finding the right agent, right? Because we all want to work with people who are for us. All right, I'm checking our comments. We got Greg Fisher here. Realtoring is hard. Find your ideal office environment. Oh, realtors need support. Oh, you're just reiterating what we said. Thanks, Greg. That's very sweet. I need the brokerage matters in court. Good. Christian Harris says that he thinks the brokerage matters in regards to culture, internal for the agents and external for what the brokerage is known for, and leadership management style, and they understand and support you. That's true. And I think, like, making sure that the brokerage you work at isn't going to be repelling your ideal clients. So maybe you really love your manager, but it turns out your ideal clients aren't attracted to your brokerage's brand, or that the way that they move in the community is not necessarily reinforcing your own brand. That's a real hard thing, but that's real. You got to look at that. Thanks for sharing that, Christian. If anybody else has any questions or comments about that part, go ahead and drop them in there. But we're just going to share this values exercise, which, full disclosure, totally stole from my therapist. Made her email it to me. So basically, she had me do this exercise. The way that she had me do it was, you take the list of values. So hopefully you guys are on number 13 and you can see the list of values. There are so many values. What she had me do was circle 10, then narrow it down to 4. That's kind of the long version. But for a lot of us that, like, need to have lots of choices, like, circling 10 is really important. So you would go through, we're not going to do it now because we're so verbose. We're kind of getting to the end of our day. But what you would do is go through and circle 10 or circle only 4.
So the first list is a list of values in your personal life. So you choose things that are important to you as a person. And then there's the list. It's the same list again on the next page. And it says, what do you value most in your business? So again, circle 4. And, like, for me, I know it'd be easiest if I circled 10 and then, like, narrowed it down from there. Because, like, this is a long list of things to choose from. So yeah.
So once you have articulated, like, what your 4 top values are in your personal life and your business, you can write your core 4 here. And just to share, like, my 4 values, I can just say them like this. They're freedom, authenticity, helping other people in a healthy way, because I'm codependent, and stability. So I run every business plan, every potential client, every project through this filter. So I was talking with my managing broker, or the owner of my company, day before yesterday, and we were talking about consulting projects that I could do, and he was articulating this whole vision. And at first I was like, oh yeah, that sounds fun, and oh yeah, that would be a lot of money. And then I thought about it and I was like, that is gonna F my freedom. Like, if I commit to this program, like, I'm not, freedom is my number 1 value. Having flexibility, being able to go down the rabbit holes I want to go down, like, that's really important for me. So I realized, like, it actually wouldn't work. And so I just told them, like, we're gonna have to do something different, because I don't think I can commit to that. And you know what? It's really great to figure that out by using your 4 core values right up front. Know that, so that you can filter right at the beginning, instead of being 3 months into working with a client, or, you know, a certain marketing initiative or a website launch, and then realize, like, oh, actually, that's totally not for me. Do you have any thoughts on how your values impact the way you run your business?
Well, I was thinking that, you know, if people are into vision boarding, they could even, like, put these words on the board or things that like remind them of these words as a way to keep it front and center. Because like, you're going to write it down and then you're going to like close this packet and then
so true.
Recycle it.
So
don't do that. But.
For me, I have a whiteboard. And so for the first year that I had, after I did this exercise, I wrote freedom, authenticity, helping others in a healthy way, and stability, which is mainly financial stability for me. I wrote those on top of the whiteboard. And so that's probably how they're memorized and how they're in there so deeply, because I really did look at them every day. Like, definitely recommend that. All right, so what's next? We have even more viewers than before? This is so weird. Well, for those of you that missed the workshop and that are just here now, you get to be here for the pitch. Hey, it's pitch time. Everybody that wants to leave can leave. It's fine. We're just going to talk about the course now. We're going to talk about the community marketing course and why you should buy it, even though it's $1 bazillion. It's, how much is it? It's $2,497. My God, don't you have a coupon? Why is it so expensive?
Oh, we have a present for you guys. Which we'll be emailing you after this.
We're going to email you a coupon. You're all asking for coupons. You're such realtors, so negotiating. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and send a coupon for a discount code for the webinar. But just talking about, like, why did we make a course, and why do we think people should spend $1 gazillion like on buying it? Alyssa, do you want to try pitching?
Well, I've seen in Marguerite's, I've known you for how many years now?
5, 6 years,
yeah,
7?
Something like that. And I've seen her business change and evolve over that time. And a lot of that's because of community-focused marketing. And I've worked with other real estate agents who have been using this. All of the strategies that we talk about in our course in their businesses to, like, number one, like, market in general and get their businesses out there, but also to attract their ideal clients. And how do they know who those people are? I think by doing a lot of these exercises and like narrowing in on that and articulating it. Because I think a lot of the times, like, they know who it is and they sort of just like naturally like infuse that into their marketing. But I think that like being able to really articulate who those people are. So like this, for example, this exercise that we just did is in lesson 1 in our course. And
there's 9 lessons. Did you get value out of this experience? Imagine 9 times this value. And imagine how much money you would make.
Lesson 1 is actually even longer than this. So like,
yeah, it's true. Actually,
so like,
more than
this is just a part of lesson 1. So just to go over again, like what the course actually includes. So it's an online course, and once you buy it, you have access to it forever. And there's 9 lessons, and in each of the lessons, there's a video. So Marguerite and I have a conversation about what's in that section and kind of go over stuff verbally. And then there's a large written component that you can, watch the video and then say like, okay, like here's where we break it down. And for those of you, who have more of like a learning style, it's all there for you too. And then we have tons of examples that actually show you like, this is what we're talking about looks like in practice.
Yeah. So if we're talking about the appropriate way, like the best way to blog about your listings to, attract inquiries, we're going to link to some agents that are doing that, who are actually, making money doing that. And I think that's really important, because there's a lot of fluff advice in our business that's not backed up with people who are actually successful. So we made sure to show you examples of people who are doing it and making money off of it.
Yes.
I think that's a very important thing.
Yes. And then there's also a workbook that comes with the course too that, we recommend you print it out.
43-page workbook.
Yeah. And so there's a section that goes with each of the lessons that will help you organize your thoughts. And so like, take notes as well as brainstorm ideas, and kind of you can have this packet as your plan when you're done with the course, which I think is especially useful for teams and brokerages. So if there's other people that you're sharing your vision with, being able to have like, here's what I laid out, like here's our 12-month plan, like let's do it, let's implement it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is also when we've talked to a few people who are either managing brokers or owners of companies who have the course, who are like, oh wow, so I could use these 9 modules to basically do a class every week at the office, and we'll just go through step by step like how to do this. That's totally an option. Another thing is, as a manager, if you're not, or if this is something, maybe talk to your manager about buying. If you have a manager that's maybe not savvy about the way that all this social stuff works, be like, hey, buy this course and now you're going to be able to teach us and support us. Like that's a real option as well. I know my own managing broker, Jasmine, when we were going through the course, was just like, oh my God, like I'm going to teach all my agents this. This is going to be so awesome. And I think that's like a neat benefit too. So individual agents for sure can benefit if you're a hustler and you're a person that wants to attract business by community marketing. If you're a team and you're trying to diversify where your clients are coming from and you don't want to be dependent on one revenue stream or two revenue streams where you're paying, if you're a boomtown brokerage or if you're addicted to the Zillow leads or whatever, if you're buying any clients, it's a good idea to diversify using community marketing so that you're not totally dependent on something you have to pay monthly for, because we know those things can go away or they can get very expensive. So, I mean, obviously, like, everybody should buy this course. It's going to make you bazillions of dollars. If you don't like it, like, we will refund your money, but we know you're going to like it because other people have already bought it and it's been like amazing and life-changing. So check out the testimonials because it's real. It's real.
I want to add a few other things. So if you buy the course, you also get access to a closed Facebook group.
That's true.
That we are in, and like people are sharing ideas and we're answering questions or sharing more examples and more of our thoughts. And this is part of the reason actually why we're closing registration for this course on January 9th. Because we want to, as people make their way through the course, we want to be available to answer their questions and best serve you guys.
Yeah.
So
can't have new people starting all the time.
Right.
So anyways, thank you for coming to our first webinar.
Thank you.
This was slightly less terrifying than I thought it would be. It was very scary at the beginning. I think recapping, like trying to make Google Hangouts go live. This was scary.
Yeah, it was.
But you guys were so delicate and lovely with us and flexible with the chat box and with the Twitters. So thank you for like rolling with it. And
thanks for everyone who commented in the chat box and like let us know it was working and tweeted at us. That was really helpful.
And the people that were like, there is no chat box. Why do you keep talking about chat box? That was also great. Thanks for letting us know. That would have been embarrassing if we'd spent the whole hour talking about that. Michelle Postia, January 9th is your birthday. You should definitely ask for the course as your present. That's a great idea. Also, guys, Christmas is coming. Christmas is coming. Tell your lover to buy the course for you for Christmas. What could be more romantic? Or your manager.
Yeah.
I wish my manager brought me $2,500 courses.
Yeah, for 2017 if you're trying to wrap up.
Hi, Christopher Morgan. I missed you too. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and close it out. Actually, if you want, like, I'm still kind of hyped, so everybody, you all can leave, but if you want to ask any questions, we can just chill here for a few minutes and answer any questions. We're gonna go ahead and send you that email with your discount coupon code, because we know you guys love discounts. And also there's an option for an affiliate code. So if you want to hustle the course and sell it to other people and make a little spiff, we would love to help you do that too. So check out the email. It's gonna go out as soon as we turn this off and Alyssa gets a chance to send it.
So a note on the affiliate code, there's information again in the email we're going to send you, but just so you know, you just let us know if you'd like a code and we'll create a unique code for you that you can give out to people. And when you give it to someone, they get $250 off the course and you also get $250. So
it would just be like making it rain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. Okay. So just checking for questions.
Michelle, did you say, what is the deal with referring the course?
You just explained that. She asked that before you.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure that was clear. So.
Okay. Hi, Jessica Saraki. Thanks for coming. Thanks, Michael Dugan. Scrolling through. Shalani Henriquez. I don't know you. Hi, Shalani. Welcome to the webinar. Let's see. Okay, just looking for questions. We're just chilling. We're just looking for questions. Happy birthday, Michelle Postia. Michelle got her question answered.
Cool.
Well, they're not asking questions, but Alyssa, like, if they were asking a question.
Well, we did such a thorough job.
That's because you did the outline. All right, so we're just going to hang out for like 2 more seconds. I mean, honestly, if you tweet us later, we're probably going to answer your question.
Or post on Facebook or email us or whatever. Because I'm sure that if, we move kind of fast, so if while you're working through actually like really thinking about who these people are, you have more questions, like feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah. Also, just as a reminder, if you're on the mailing list, we're sending out daily emails with content showing examples of people doing, like, the thing is like when you sell a course, like they tell you to do all this stuff. Like, and it's been very hard for us because like we're trying to sell a course that's all about working by attraction and not closing people and just never having to do that because the people who love you just come. And so we're trying to sell a webinar where or sell a course where all the training is like, put the people in your funnel and send them 1 million emails and then they'll buy your course. And we're like, oh, that's so gross, we can't do it. So we made these emails and we're trying to make them like so valuable. And we're trying to give you examples of people that are doing stuff that you can stock online and copy. And like, we're just trying to give you everything.
I feel good about these emails. So what we're
Alyssa writes them and sends them, by the way.
So what we're referring to is right now we're doing a 12 Days of Christmas email series. And if you sign up now, on our website for the emails, you'll get a free download with some blog post ideas, first of all, but you won't actually get on the 12 Days of Christmas email, but I'm going to send out a recap email to everyone who wasn't in the 12 days process. But yeah, I feel really good about these emails.
Yeah, like, they're good. I promise.
Inspiration.
I mean, and of course you can always unsubscribe, but like the idea is like, we just want to like give you lots of value, and hopefully like if you're not going to buy the course, if you ever know somebody who should buy the course, you will send them our way, just like real estate. We're never too busy for your referrals. We're never too busy for your course referrals until after January 9th, in which case we'll be moving on to other things that are left. So, all right. So they want to know where Matilda is. I have no idea. You know what? I'm guessing she's on her 3rd nap of the day because it's already 11 Pacific.
She went and like stuck her headphones on somewhere.
She is like over all of this. Yeah. But other than that, thanks so much for coming. I don't want our first webinar to end. This was so nice.
We should take a selfie.
Oh, we should.
Yeah.
Okay. We're tuning out now. I don't know why 22 people are still watching.
Oh, whoops. Okay. We did it.
Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Bye, guys.